Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all happy podcast. I am Josh, and I want to let you know about an exciting opportunity. If you're looking to build a fit and toned body, this one is for you. We're looking for 6 people who are struggling to actually see a leanness to their physique, to have that tone, and to really just present themselves as fit. Perhaps you've been going to the gym consistently, you're always there, but you don't see that physical change. Your composition isn't moving, you're not looking lean, maybe you're starving yourself, maybe you're on a meal plan, but you're not seeing results. We want to break that barrier with this test group. So we're looking for 6 people who are going to go all in on their fitness and health over the next 90 days, one-on-one with me, where I'm going to actually map out everything for you in terms of nutrition, training, accountability, and goal setting to get you better results faster so we can build a fit and toned physique in this 90 days. And there's going to be a special opportunity for the specific test group. So if this sounds like something you're looking to achieve, DM me Fit and Toned on Instagram to take advantage of this. My Instagram is at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. And once again, you can DM me Fit and Toned. Now into the episode. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all happy podcast. I am your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
And this is Motivation Monday. Sit back, relax. It's time to get fired up, to learn, and just to crack into some killer questions. And as always, we like to start with our primary question. Our first question is, what are your best meal prep tips? I hear a lot about it, but I can't seem to make meal prep work for me. I must be missing something. And I love this one because when I started, obviously I was younger. I wasn't really cooking, and there's a lot of meal preps get very romanticized because it's just the thought of having pre-made chicken, broccoli, and rice. It just sounds amazing. It's so easy to adhere. You just pull it out of the fridge. It's there. It's thoughtless. But when it comes to actually committing to it, and when I first started, it really frustrated me because I didn't really know what to do. I think I made the mistake of boiling my chicken. I'd have very plain, boring rice, and I just throw in 2 vegetables in there, and it frankly was miserable to eat. It didn't keep well. It wasn't tasty. It was just such a mess. And then I remember I tried beef, and the beef didn't work too well, and I just really felt kind of lost with it. So in terms of meal prep, I would change your basic understanding of it. And I think a great way to start is hiring out a company. So currently this is something I've been doing because obviously time is a consideration. With a newborn, I decided to buy back my time, invest in myself, and I'm paying about $11 a meal right now. Those are usually around 450 to 600 calories, and they're usually within 35 to 60 grams of protein. So they are pretty awesome. And yes, $11 is more than it would cost me to make it at home, but it requires no effort from me. I pick up 10 of them. I'm good for the front end of my week, and it actually provides a lot of variety. If you like fish, you can get fish options. You can get chicken, beef, pork. You get so many different types of protein, carb, and veggie options, which is fantastic. Even for carbs, typically your mind just goes to rice, but you can also have noodles, you can have couscous, you can have quinoa, and just kind of improving your understanding. This is a great way to go about it. And the way I like to see it is, yes, I'm spending money, but I'm actually saving money at the same time. Because if I go out, there's a lot of places I can get a quick bite, and I can easily spend $30 on a lunch or a dinner. The $11 for one of these preps, yes, are a little bit less calories. Sometimes I'll pair it with a carb or a banana or something like that to jack up my calories because I do eat a bit more, but it actually levels out to being pretty cost effective. And once again, if you're one of those people that says, I can make this at home, if you're already a great cook, don't ignore this tip. Just cook. Make the preps because you'll get more from it, and it is a lot cheaper, and we've made content on this previously. But if you always say, I should just make it at home, and that's what's holding you back, maybe it's worth spending a bit more for that convenience fee to get in that habit. And then maybe after 2 weeks, on that 3rd week, you have some fresh new ideas, and then you can go out and start to cook it. In terms of cooking preps, I find Googling recipes is one of the best things. Obviously, YouTube and Instagram are fantastic for this, and really learning kind of the portioning of it and really getting everything balanced out. Yes, it'll take that buy-in of initial time, might be 1, 2, 3 hours on Sunday to get everything cooked, prepped, as well as logged to really set aside the different portions of the macros, because what you don't want to do is just bulk make foods and then just throw them in containers randomly, because it'll be really easy to undershoot your calories. And where you think it might be 500, it might be 1100. But the benefit of doing it yourself is you can make things you really like, and you can really know the macros of them, and you can make them as tasty as you want. Obviously expensive calories, but for me, I do find it's nice to kind of just have that help. So that is one consideration to have. Past that, it's not necessarily prepping, but having staple meals, something we talk about quite often. And that's where you have like just a really effortless meal that you know you can make on a pinch really quickly. For me, these are protein smoothies, my Greek yogurt in the mornings. These are just very easy and quick to prepare. And when I'm really hungry and I'm in a pinch, I know I'm getting the adequate amount of macronutrients and protein I need to be successful with it. But if it's not working for you, case in point, chances are you're just going too heavy with your expectations. Maybe they're too clean. Maybe you're scared to cook with any salt or oil. And once again, you need to log these things. But even if you're just going chicken, broccoli, rice, it's very boring. Like try a beef option, try a lean turkey option. Like it's amazing how much you could spice it up and try the preps. But the worst and the main thing I think people are messing up is saying they'll do it every week. I should do it, never doing it, or doing it, having them taste like horrible and then not eating them at all during the week. So maybe invest out, but if you can, like work it like a muscle, set aside that time on Sunday, Saturday, Monday, whenever the heck you want to do it, get everything prepped out, get it prepared, build that habit, because it does make things a lot easier. So that's my advice there. Outside of that, I also have my staples that I buy going out, like burrito bowls. We have like a healthy bowl. We go to this food place where it's a ton of veggies and a carb. Like, so in a pinch, I know I can pick these things up and still have success. So although it's not meal prep, it's still a tool in my arsenal. But that's my ramble there. Excited for what Kyle has to say here.
Yeah, honestly, just hiring out has been one of the greatest things. And numerous times I've said, you know what, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to do it myself. And it just never ends up happening. So I was just like, you know what, I'm going to keep it. I have no regrets. And it's been just so helpful. And like so many people I know will set great intentions. They're like, Sunday, I'm going to put in my calendar, and then kids baseball comes up, and then you got to go to here. You got to go run here. And then you go into the week with like nothing. And so I've seen that happen hundreds of times over, and I know firsthand because I used to set aside that time, and then something fun comes up and I'm like, oh well, now I don't have anything because I haven't prepared because time just got ahead of me there. But I really like what Josh said about taking a look at other companies as inspiration. So even if you're like, you know what, I want to do this myself, I have the time, I have the space, I've got the capacity, but I just don't know what to cook and like how to make it exciting, hire that company, take report of the recipes, kind of see what's going on here, take a look at the variety as well. I posted this on Instagram the other day. A lot of people loved it because, you don't have to use it, but once again, if you have you just have to do it. That's the main thing. But I think within prep, one of my biggest tips is to set aside and plan like when you're going to have those meals and like what variety you want to have. Because when I used to do this preparation, I made the mistake kind of similar to what Josh was saying. Like I would just have the most boring and like the same thing over and over again, which I can have the same thing consistently, like Greek yogurt. I don't switch that out, but I just find that it's fun to look forward to something, especially if you're on this journey for, a lifelong journey. So having those different substitutions, let's say I'm going to prepare 6 meals for the week. Maybe I'm going to have 2 in one day or whatever the case is. Maybe having sweet potatoes for 2 of them as the carb, brown rice for 2 of them, and then some sort of other thing, like Josh said, pasta. Like it's so nice to have that variety. So when you do that prep, instead of just, it is easier to just keep it simple with one ingredient for each category, such as chicken, broccoli, and rice as the example. But it's definitely one of those things where I'm sure every single person here has gotten to Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever that day is, and you're like, I'm sick of it. You end up throwing it out. You just end up letting it go to waste. And then you end up actually spending more money because of that. And then you end up ordering something on Uber. And it's just this horrible process of just like, you want to do it, but it just doesn't work out for you. So just a random thought there that I wanted to mention. And hopefully these tips helped and got you to think about some things for sure.
And now I know there's going to be someone that says, must be nice to be able to afford meal preps. I can't do that. I don't have a big budget. Bulk buying, you can absolutely do this. We made like a bulking on a budget video. You can buy those massive bags of rice, like those 20-pound bags of rice, and you can get them relatively cheap, and you'll keep them and you'll portion them out each week and make it work. Just the same, you could go to a butcher and buy a massive amount of beef. You might have to ground it yourself. You can buy a massive amount of ground beef. There are quite a few ways to save significantly here. Even bulk buying chicken at Costco is quite cheaper than just buying independent packs. So you can be smart about it. And then maybe you don't have a ton of money for a crazy variety of vegetables. Potatoes are exceptionally cheap as well. And you got to work with what you got, unfortunately. But I assure you, you could eat decently healthy on a low budget. Of course, it's probably cheaper just to buy French fries and frozen patties and things that are ridiculously, absurdly cheap. But you got to ask yourself, is it worth paying the cost of putting that in your body? Whereas for maybe 30% more, bulk and buying these ingredients, being very thoughtful and just keeping things a little more minimalist and perhaps using some more spices, you can actually still have the benefit of it. So once again, you got to tailor it to your life, your income, your opportunity, your time, and really land in on what works best for you. But either you'll get it done or you'll make excuses and never get it done. So that's something I wanted to leave you with there. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into our quotes. What do you got, Kyle?
My quote this week is, excuses kill dreams and plant the seeds of future regrets. So excuses, they're never fun. We do not recommend them. It's one of those things that you don't realize like how much it could be impacting you in the future. Like I'm sure some of you can look back on a certain circumstance where you made an excuse and you're like, man, why did I do that? Like, why did I not take this opportunity? Why didn't I start this journey sooner or, invest in my health sooner, as we're talking about meal preps here, right? So it's just one of those things that it kills your dreams. Like you have these great intentions, you have these great goals. And, I really try to avoid making excuses as much as possible. I mean, we are human. There are some times where it just doesn't work out and I will have to, but I really try my absolute best. And I try to kind of keep it's called a cookie jar, where you keep track of these different memories and different things that you've done and accomplished and whatnot. And anytime I have the opportunity to make an excuse to, whether it's skip a workout or just go off track or just not follow through with the goals or follow through with what I say I'm going to do, I keep track of just how horrible that feels, because I'm sure a lot of you have experienced those moments where, you set a goal or you had some sort of, event that you were going to. And I know so many people, even a DEXA scan, for example, going into that, knowing that you should have followed through and having that just feel horrible. You look back to that moment of just being at a higher body for fat percentage or the outfit that you were supposed to wear. And it really does, it does compound over time. You may not realize when you're in the moment, when you're saying, when you make that excuse, you don't realize what that's going to do for you in the future, because it's just one small moment, right? But compounded over time, it's never worth it. So excuses kill dreams and plant the seeds of future regrets.
110%. And I love that quote through and through. And it's so fitting. I just finished talking about excuses as we get into it. So it's so easy to look for a reason not to. Instead, change that mindset, look for a reason to. So that is fantastic. My quote is quite simple. It's from Peter Drucker, and that is, the best way to predict the future is to create it. In my opinion, one of the best things you can do, instead of hoping, as I always say, hope is not a strategy, wishing, is what can you do? What action can you take today? If you want to be fit and healthy 3 months from now, what could you do to actually ensure that happens? And a great example is at the start of the episode, fit and toned. I'm looking for 6 people who want to be fit and toned, who have been going at it, go to the gym, make an effort with nutrition, but just aren't where you want to be. This is you. You can reach out and actually guarantee your results 90 days from now, or you can put it off and you can make excuses to why it's not a good time. And that's a reality. And just the same, if you ask yourself, if you locked in today for the next 3 months, where would you be? How far would you be? How much would your life change? It's really just a metric of actually putting in that work to create that future. And there's a reason Einstein said compounding is one of the greatest forces in the universe. And that is because doing the small things consistently done well will compound to phenomenal results. As you gain muscle, you become stronger, to lift more weight, to become more just habit orientated for the gym, to have more discipline, to eat better, and your body will naturally get better and better and better. And this works with anything in life. So I just like this quote too, because instead of putting your success in external situations of when it's the perfect time, you're in the perfect area, you have the perfect work schedule, yada, 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 you're a lot better just to say, what can I do with where I am now to ensure my success?
I love that. And, Josh, really, as I'm jumping into some thoughts here as well, working off of that, I just, especially for this Fit and Tone promo, it just really got me thinking about how there's usually 2 types of people who, when they're not seeing results, there's 2 things happening, right? So on the one side, there's a lot of people who are showing up for themselves. When they say they're going to do something, they do it. It's just usually not the right stuff, right? And some of you may be able to relate to this. You go to the gym 5 days a week, you try to eat healthy, and you're trying to do the right stuff, but it's just overall the entire formula is just not correct, because if you were doing the right stuff, you would be seeing results and you would see them. I wouldn't say quick, but you will start to see them. And we get this a lot from a lot of people who message us who say, hey, I've been working so hard, like I don't know what's going on. And usually there's a couple different missing puzzle pieces, and that's where we can come in and take a look and optimize different things such as cardio, obviously your nutritional intake, making sure everything's accurate there, the right amount of volume within your workouts, all that other stuff. Now, that's super important to remember. And there are some of you who definitely are struggling with that, especially because we've had a few recent signups. Even this one girl, shout out to Amanda, who signed up. She basically, exact same situation. She goes to the gym. She does some of the right stuff. She just needed a more optimized formula, and that's where we can help out. Now, on the other end, this is something I was thinking of in my motivational video I was watching this morning. It had said, it's like people want to change more. It's like people want change more than they want to change, right? So they just don't follow through with what they say they're going to do. And it's obviously easier to speak the intention than it is to actually follow through with it. So this is the other side. This is the person who's skipping the workouts. This is the person who, will log their calories Monday to Thursday, and then Friday onwards, they don't do anything and they binge eat. And I would say this is a good, probably most of the population. I'd say a lot of people have the right intention, but they just don't show up. So you just kind of have to just ask yourself, when you're not seeing the results. I hope every person listening here is, seeing success. They're feeling their best. They're losing weight. That's awesome. So I guess that would be the third category, which unfortunately is a little bit more rare. But yeah, just a random thought there that I wanted to share, especially if you're not seeing those results. You have to ask yourself, why is it? And start to take action on that, and you'll start to see better results right away.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, as we continue to jump into our thoughts here, for me, just this week, I was just thinking how nice sometimes routine can be. Sometimes routine can feel a little bit boring, or you could feel like you're going through the same thing. But even within spicing up routine, like with consistency comes some degree of comfort, and comfort can be good and bad. But even for me, like just being in my home gym today, my normal schedule, being back in my appropriate time zone, being in my own house after we were away for the UFC Sphere, it is quite nice. And you realize how much easier it is to succeed within your situation. And at the same time too, I think there's always an opportunity to appreciate being out of your situation. So we have to walk a lot more. We had to be more creative with our eating, to find our protein sources, to have the opportunity to go to new gyms and explore new energy there. So regardless, even to our point of hope is not a strategy, like you got to work with what you do. Maybe you travel a lot for work and it's very hard. You got to look for solutions. You got to have a game plan that works, just like you do at home. But no matter your situation, no matter where you are, no matter how many blessings you have or how many things you don't have going for you, you got to make it work with what's in front of you. And that was kind of just my big general thought throughout all of this, and just something that was on my mind.
Yeah, I know so many people kind of struggle with like the whole traveling side of things. They get super nervous. They're just not sure about how to succeed. And I think the one thing, especially for us, having gone on numerous trips and having just have to figure it out, is like we're always looking for that way to succeed. And once again, it's not about being perfect. It's not about, we're not going to this grocery store and meal prepping here, especially when we're staying in a hotel. Like that's just not an option. But being able to do everything the best of our ability, even if it's scaled back slightly, is what's so important, because so many people will just say, oh, well, it's a trip. Well, come back. And then they're 7 pounds heavier. They're off track. Their schedule is messed up, and it takes almost a month to get back into it. And even like for us, when we realize there's a mess up in time with the time zone, some of our meetings, we're like, oh, we can't do our Monday workout. And we always say never miss a Monday. We're able to look at the schedule and be like, well, we'll just push the workout back and still get our 5 in within this week, no problem. And that's where it's like so important to be able to look for those reasons to succeed, figure it out, and then just adapt and move forward. Once again, because I hear so many people, they get scared, they get nervous, they think, oh, well, I don't have my normal routine. And I'm like, well, for us, it's like awesome. Like I'm able to figure it out and just make the right decisions to the best of my ability. And I look forward to that because it's exciting, right? To learn how to adapt, to learn how to make those changes and still succeed to the best of your ability. So yeah, awesome time. The Sphere was great. The fights were awesome. Some great food, some great times. And yeah, it's just an incredible experience, but I am definitely happy to be back.
Yeah, and it gets easier and easier as you go on with it. Like just at this point, it's just like a muscle you work. You might go on a trip, might not go how you want it. You learn for next time, you improve, you grow, and it really does get easier and easier. Like now I don't even see it so much as a challenge. I just get in front of it, pre-log my food, find my options, plan out my day, find my gyms, and get it done. And that's what it comes down to. So Now we're going to go ahead and jump into our client shout out. Who do we have?
Yeah, so we have Jeremy, and he had done some incredible things on his journey. Close to 40 pounds down and just a whole different person, new muscle mass. Amazing to see. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the photos. And then every Monday, we will share photos, the tips that he has or the client has, as well as just what they have to say about the program. And speaking of what Josh just said, I thought that was incredible, and like about the whole pre-logging side of things and reframing your mindset. We love sharing these transformations along with tips because we feel like every person like can learn something from them. It's no accident that Jeremy just started waking up and he's like, oh, well, I'm starting to lose all this weight and see the success. Like, it's just there, everything is done with an intention and a reason. Obviously having a game plan helps, but even one thing he had said here for his third tip, so make sure to check out, you'll see his other tips as well, he said, pre-logging and reframing mindset. Flexible dieting is such a game changer. You can work around the events in your life or things that come up. You can have that chocolate truffle or scotch after dinner. You just need to fit it in, and everything else within your calorie budget. And successful budgets are planned out in advance. Also, it's easy to get frustrated or cranky. Sometimes you need to take a step back and think about why you're doing this. Instead of thinking about the things you can't fit in your diet, think about how much you enjoy the little treats you do fit. Maybe look for ways you could have done better. So I thought that was great. He also has a couple other great tips, obviously considering things mandatory and whatnot. Obviously having a coach is huge, but yeah, awesome stuff. I hope that tip helped, and keep crushing it.
Yeah, shout out to Jeremy. Biggest thing I noticed with him through coaching him was just he accepted the mindset of change. He said, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm going to become that person and put in that work day after day to make that dream a reality. And that's what it comes down to. So absolutely fantastic there. Back into our questions. We have, I see you guys with Apple Watches on all the time. Should I look into investing in one?
Yeah, I mean, I love my watch. Josh inspired me to get one years ago. I do really believe in data, and this is where it's been absolutely fantastic to have one. So if you've been following us on the podcast for a while now, we do like to keep track of data as much as possible. Now, I will say the overall other side, like I had someone actually speak to me. He was, trying to get better results, and he was saying, hey, should I get one? Like, I want to see how much I'm bike riding and how long I go for and how many calories I burn. But this individual wasn't keeping track of the most important factor, which is the overall nutrition. And I'd asked him that, and he was just like, oh, well, I don't have time to take that into consideration. I was like, well, it's not going to be that helpful for you. Like, you might get some better steps. You might see that, but that's going to be one part of the formula. That's only one part of the, overall what's going to get you success. So I wanted to mention that before, because I know sometimes people will go out and rush to buy the newest, Fitbit or next gadget and whatnot, but be missing a lot of other data. And you can only see the true results when you have like the actual important data to make those changes, right? So nutrition will be always the biggest thing to manipulate. Obviously, your calorie intake will be absolutely important, making sure that that's super accurate. But overall, I really do like it as a tool to see how hard I'm pushing in the gym. It'll never always be accurate. It's been shown that, the overall calorie intake burn from them can be up to 83%, which is pretty crazy, but it'll still be accurate to itself. So when I see on a leg day, if I'm pushing 250 calories burned for that, I know I was talking a lot. I know I was resting a lot. I probably skipped squats that day. It gives me a lot of different things that I can see, and I don't like seeing that I didn't do my absolute best. So with that, I love seeing the steps. I love seeing the workout. Just the heart rate is also solid. You can kind of keep an eye on that to know when to get back into your set. And there definitely is a lot of solid data if you just use it wisely. And I usually calculate my calories burned from the end of the day just from cardio, and then input that into the spreadsheet that we use for ourselves and our clients. But it's not for everyone, but I can say it's definitely improved my life. And it's been solid so far.
Yeah, you can definitely get away, in my opinion, with one of the cheaper ones. Test it out, see how you feel. We've done a lot of giveaways for Apple Watches, actually. So we also have giveaways for like Starbucks. We try to do different things to give back to the community. So it's a good reason. If you're not following us on Instagram, our Instagram's at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. We also really like them as prizes within our challenges we run within our coaching, which is really fun. I just find it's good motivation. And I think Kyle really answered most of my opinions there as to how I feel about them. I think it's one of those things where like it's so tempting to go out there and like get an ultra and be like, I'm going to love this thing to death. But I think you should see if it's something you like wearing. I know a lot of people don't like wearing it all the time. They don't like the way it looks. They don't prefer to wear like actual watches over it or jewelry or whatever it may be. So in that case, you might not want the craziest, most intense one. But if you're someone who loves extra fitness data, you like comparing things in your workouts, like Kyle said, it can be a very good tool to hold accountability for that. It also does little fun self-training things. It'll kind of cook you if you don't move. It'll be like, you haven't moved in an hour, get up and move around, or it'll say you're way below where you normally are for activity. So there's some good little extra benefits in there. I think another cost that people should explore is like being aware of what notifications they have, because you are exposing yourself to more command of your time. Like your watch or your phone will already ping you so much. If you have every notification ever on for your watch, it's going to ping, 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 ping. Most of it's going to be nonsense, random apps trying to get at you, and it could really you could lose some of that freedom. You have another phone pinging you. So you want to really be aware of what notifications you're allowing through. But at the same time, I do like it. Like I don't have my ringer on for my phone, but my watch will always vibrate. To me, that's always nice because it's not like a loud, crazy, obnoxious thing. But if someone really needed to get a hold of me, I would be able to see it at least with my watch on, which always provides me a little bit of comfort. So that's kind of my take there. I know there's other things out there like Whoop bands and other fit trackers, and I know a lot of people put a lot of stock in them. Problem with those is the monthly subscriptions. I think it could just get really expensive, and it annoys me you can't just buy something outright. I do know you can also get some really cheap ones on Amazon that are pretty fantastic, probably for like $50 or whatnot, and it'll be a fitness tracker that'll do most of what you want to do. So if you're already having the Apple ecosystem, like I use all Apple stuff, they've got me at this point, so it's hard not to continue to use the Apple products in general. But I know you could definitely do it with just some random one that comes on Amazon. That'd be pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and I think like if you actually look at the data and make changes based off of it, and like it motivates you, then that's an awesome investment, right? If it pushes you those extra few days to do some more steps, to, have a better workout, like you'll see your investment, like it'll be worth it, right? But there are a lot of other things out there. Even we didn't wear them in Vegas, and we were still able to use the health app and see how many steps we were able to get. And once again, it wasn't perfect. There's times I didn't have my phone on me and whatnot, so like it'll never be fully accurate. But there are definitely a lot of things out there. And on a side note, myself, I've definitely worked hard to try to use it as best as possible, but not be obsessed with it, if that makes sense. I know myself, having an obsessive personality, I used to I wouldn't even want to work out if I didn't have it on, or if I didn't charge it for the night or whatever it was. So I've really tried to use it as like a positive experience versus like kind of something that you need to have. Like if you don't have it on, you're not going to go for a walk. Like, believe it or not, some of you may be confused, thinking like, what the heck, there's people out there like that, but I do know quite a few, and I was like that. So it's definitely something that you want to use for the positive, that pushes you to be better, but doesn't take away from anything, if that makes sense as well.
Now, for our final question, I've noticed a big resurgence in talk around intermittent fasting. What are your current thoughts on it? And if you had to, what window would you do? 14:10 or 16:18? So those numbers at the bottom, you're like, I do not know what they're talking about. Intermittent fasting in a nutshell is where you only eat in a period of time. And the benefits here are, they would argue that by not eating for a while, you're optimizing for gut health, as well as by eating in a smaller window, you're going to be less hungry. You can eat more food. You can really enjoy yourself. And it's just very black and white, as I can eat in this time, I can't eat in this other time. Now, there's a million different windows. You could do a 23-1 if you wanted, where you don't eat for 23 hours, you only eat for 1. You could do the opposite, although that wouldn't really so much be a fast. But the goal is you're fasting for as much as you can in the day. So 14:10 wouldn't be as tight. That'd be a lot more realistic, if you will, in that sense. So let's say I ate at 8 a.m., I would be able to eat till 4 p.m. It'd be a lot more reasonable, if you will, there. Or sorry, that'd be the 16:8. And then the 14:10, I'd have more time, where it'd be like 8 to 6 p.m. Now, I don't follow this at all, but in general, I wouldn't consider myself an intermittent faster, but I'll usually eat my breakfast around 8, and I usually will have my last meal around 6. And then I try to avoid not eating later, just because I know during that time, most often, I just want to like have something just to have something. It's kind of that trash time before I go to bed. And I try not to eat within like 2 hours before I go to bed, just for digestion and sleep. Saying so, we were in Vegas, we were out late, we were at UFC, this and that. We didn't eat much. Like if I'm coming home and I need calories at 11:30 p.m., I will eat if I have calories to have. Like I'm not overly strict on this. I do think intermittent fasting can be a tool I don't think it's net superior because I think it comes at a cost. Like if you need to be up at 6 a.m. and you need to eat breakfast quick, and it comes to me not eating at 6, then maybe I can't eat till 2, I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be crazy, especially if you're food focused. I'd be hesitant with this because it could actually make you ruminate on food more and be more extreme when you do have an eating window. Whereas for some people, this could be a good solution to being food focused, or maybe you're someone who isn't food focused and this makes it easier, or it's hard to eat a lot. And that's where it's a very personal thing. And people that love intermittent fasting will tout it as like the solution for everybody. I don't think it's that at all. I think it can be an incredible solution for you on a one-to-one scale level because everyone is just so different with their eating patterns, what they do. Maybe you eat after your kids go to bed, so you eat super late. Like you really need to just analyze what feels best for you and what's most realistic. And in terms of these windows, like once again, what window would I do? I do the 14-10, even though I don't intermittent fast because that's just kind of where I feel best. But I know some people will do really extreme windows too. They'll do a 24 where they only eat in 4 hours. Like there's some issues here, right? Because you need carbs and glycogen for your workouts, and when you don't have them, you can feel a little deprived, especially if you're training hard. So I like to eat around my training. Like you get so in the weeds with it, and that's why I wouldn't freak out about it too much. But if you're like, wow, this sounds pretty good, maybe I'll try that 16-8. That'd be a good tool for me. Power to you, try it. You might love it, and it might be an incredible solution. You might go, doesn't really work for me, but it's good to know. So those are my general thoughts. Curious to hear Kyle's.
Yeah, when I tried it, I really we did more of an intense one where I think the window was like smaller in terms of being able to work to eat. So it'd be like starting around noon to maybe 6 p.m. or something like that. So that'd be a 6-hour window, and then 18 hours of fasting. So it was definitely very challenging. And so with that, obviously focused on strength training, focused on getting stronger, just having more energy, none of that stuff worked out when we had tried it there. So, that's just once again, more of a personal thing. Whereas I know some people, they love it, right? And it's very situational. I had one client who, based off of her work schedule, based off of how many meetings she was in, based off of just not wanting to have to rush around and just have that constant thought, she actually genuinely felt it was easy. It was an easy mode. She'd start around 1 p.m. and then cut herself off around, let's say 7 p.m. And that worked. Obviously now where it gets tough is sometimes she'd say, hey, I've got a work dinner and we're going at 7:30. And so she wasn't super strict on that, but more so it was just what worked best for her lifestyle was having that window. And kudos to her. That's awesome. Her calories were in check, seeing great results, and it worked for her. Whereas some people are so different, right? Someone wakes up at 4, you got a kid, you tell yourself you're going to wait until this time. You just have to really look at your situation. And the main thing overall is that you are eating appropriately in terms of your calorie range, because there's so many people out there who will fast. They say, hey, I'm going to have a 6 to 8 hour window or a 4-hour window. But then as soon as that window opens up, they're at a restaurant and they're having nachos, and nothing wrong with that, but their overall calorie intake is just going to be shot out the window. Their protein might be a bit lower because it's a smaller window. So I think the biggest thing is just assessing your situation, and the main thing is if you check out at the end of the day, as soon as you're done eating, you've hit your protein, you've hit your calories, and you've been super accurate with that, you're going to be in an incredible spot. Whether you started eating at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. or whatever time it is, that's going to be the biggest mover. And I don't care what anybody else says. I like keeping an open mind, but there are so many people out there who have these videos saying, this is the solution. This is the secret. Try keto. Fasting is the only reason I've seen results. And it's not true at all. It's what's worked best for them. And they're going to try to sell you on a product, a service associated with that, with their keto juice and their, fasting pills and whatever it is that you need to do within that. So I had to pop off there because I see it way too often. Our industry is definitely saturated with all these little things that they're trying to sell you on, but we try to keep it real, and that's what we're here for. So that's going to be my thought on that question.
Well, thanks for tuning in with us today and covering these incredible topics of intermittent fasting, wearables, as well as meal prep hacks. I hope you got a lot out of this. And once again, knowledge is only power when applied. So go ahead, apply this into your life. And if you're serious, this is your chance to do it. A special opportunity one-on-one with me. And that is if you're looking to get fit and toned, DM me on Instagram, fit and toned. And don't be kicking yourself 3 months from now, wishing you had done this, wishing you would be where you could be, putting on clothes, anything, and it feeling feeling fantastic, being able to take your shirt off with confidence, be able to wear what you want to wear. Don't hold yourself back from that. Let's make sure we're progressing together towards your goals, not away from them. And I just want to thank you all for tuning in today. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.